Okay, so today I'm going to teach you 5 basic watercolor techniques. And I've learned these techniques just from my high school teachers, Ed Palmer, Sarah Pottinger, and then I took a class in college. And then Bob Ross, I guess, is a big influencer for any artist. And then I also have this book that I learned a lot of stuff from. So that's by Curtis Tappenden, and it just has a bunch of different watercolor techniques. I got this when I was like 12. So those are my main sources that I've learned these from. So the first technique we're going to do is wet on wet, which just means it's going to be wet paper and then wet paint. So to do this, you're going to just lightly wet the whole area of your paper. And you don't want it to be puddly, you just want to kind of get it damp. So now that we've done that, you're going to take a brush, get a little bit of water on it, and then we're just going to pick a color. And you can see with this technique, it just creates a bleeding effect, which can be really cool. So that's the wet on wet technique. And so that, you can see, it just kind of bleeds through the paper. And then we're going to clean the brush. And what you need is to have 1 cup to wash your paintbrush off, and then 1 cup for just clean water in case you need to wet your paper or anything. You don't want to get any paint in that one. So, and you also want to have a paper towel to just clean your brush off. So the next technique we're going to do is wet paint on dry paper. So you're just going to get a little bit of water on your brush, and we're going to pick a color, and then you'll see that it stays in place when you're painting. So that's the difference. It just creates a harder line. And then for the next one, I'm going to do just a 1 color gradient. So we're just going to slowly build up color. So for this one, you're going to want a completely clean brush, and you're just going to do a tiny bit of paint and then get it wet. And you're just going to do a really light place to start, and you might need to add a little bit of water to get it lighter. So you want to start with the lightest that you can, and then you slowly just add more and more paint, and then you keep getting water on the brush so you can kind of fade it, and then you can pick some of it up to help fade it a little bit. So if you see, you just kind of, the less water and the more pigment you have, the darker it's going to be. So you can see how it's just a slow gradient effect. Okay, so there's that technique. And that's nice for just like a sunset or a background. And then if you were to do a multicolor fading ombre effect, it's the same idea. So if we started with yellow, you'd put the yellow at the beginning, and then you just add, we're going to add some green, and you want to leave a little bit of a gap, and then you just kind of slowly fade those together. And this is really thin paint, so sometimes you have to do multiple layers and add a little bit of water to it. You can see how it's a nice fade, and then if we were to add blue right here, you just kind of fade that in. So you're using water to help fade it, so you can see how it kind of fades between the 3 colors. And then the last effect, this is one of my favorite things to do, is dripping paint. So the trick for this is you just want a lot of water and a lot of pigment on the brush. And you just kind of do a dot, and then you add more and more water to that, more and more paint and water until it starts to drip down. And then when you're doing this, you kind of are doing like a splashy, drippy effect. So the point is to make it really kind of sloppy. So you can do that. And then if I add red to it, do that. Maybe put some, so you can see that, and then it makes a mess. So look out for that. So those are the 5 techniques. We did wet on wet, dry on dry, one color ombre, multicolor ombre, and then dripping. Thank you.